Du denkst, mit einem Fädchen mich zu fangen, and before that, ist's. Two songs of Hugo Wolf, sung by DEBBIE VOIGT, soprano Warren Jones at the piano. Welcome to you both to Around New York. Warren, you were here when I wasn't, so I'll just pretend you weren't here. Because I was.
Thank you.
Welcome to you both. Deborah, you like to be called Deborah or Debbie?
I prefer Debbie, actually.
All right. I'd be happy to call you Debbie.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming in today. I mentioned that your star has risen quickly. Does it seem so to you?
Not especially, no.
It never does it?
No, I think probably in terms of New York City, that's probably very true. But I've been singing since I was a very small child. Not necessarily opera, but certainly involved in church music and school music and all that sort of thing. And really began my professional training in 1985 in San Francisco with the San Francisco Opera Center. So I guess 9 years, maybe thought of as being quick by some people, but to me that seems like an awful lot of ground has been covered in those 9 years.
Well, but you've made it to the biggest opera house in America, and one of the biggest in the world,
That's right,
if not the biggest in the world.
I can tell you one thing, Steve, that when I remember about 9 or 10 years ago, maybe not quite that long ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, it's a very small business that we work in.
Right.
People know each other. And word got into my apartment very quickly that there was a woman in Boston singing Ariadne auf Naxos, who was a woman that we were all going to hear about. And shortly, like the next day, I got the word before a review came out in the paper. Shortly, a review came in the paper with a picture of Deborah. And here we are, and she's singing it.
It does seem obvious when there's a voice like that around, when there's musicality like that around, that
word gets out.
Oh, quickly, and
Thank
those
goodness.
people are gonna work here and lots of other places. Where have you worked? Lots of places, huh?
Well, lots of places. I've just returned from San Francisco Opera, where I was performing my first Elizabeth in Wagner's Tannhäuser, new production there, staged by Lotfi Mansouri and conducted by Donald Runnicles. That was a really wonderful experience. Then I'm getting ready to sing my first Lady Macbeth of Verdi in Bologna in January. I was in the Arena di Verona for the first time this summer. It was quite an experience.
Yeah.
Singing Aida in front of 20,000 people.
Wow.
We even had a performance rained out, so as well as a dress rehearsal, I might add.
I'm surprised you even let that bother you. There you are out with the pyramids and stuff.
Well, I was happy
rain.
that it had
Heck with
happened
it.
before O Patria Mia. If it had happened after that, I would have been a little bit disappointed, but at least I didn't have to really sweat through it.
Yeah, I hear those. I haven't seen a production there, but I hear they're amazing.
It's pretty amazing, yeah.
Although I got to say, the Mets is pretty amazing too.
Well, that too. That
yeah.
too.
Have you been in that production?
No, I haven't. No.
It's pretty amazing. You did Electra there, which was televised.
Right. We filmed it last season, and it was just televised in September, I believe.
Right. In fact, with James King, who was here just yesterday.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, he was here. You're living in Florida?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Well, as your listeners may know, there's a bit of a storm
what's
going on in
down
Florida.
there?
Well, I guess Tropical Storm Gordon is wreaking some havoc all over Southern California, so hopefully my little house in Jupiter is okay.
Where's Jupiter?
It's just north of Palm Beach.
Just outside Saturn.
Yeah.
Palm Beach, you got
exactly.
it. Yeah. When did you leave there?
I arrived in New York Monday.
I see.
Got out just before the worst of it began.
Yeah. So what do you hear from down there? Things still...
As far as I know, I'm going to go home and call my landlord as soon as we're finished here, having just heard the recent reports.
Why Florida?
Primarily just a place to get away and have some peace and quiet in between engagements. My husband travels with me, and we travel at least 10 months of the year, and gets to be awfully hectic. And I was finding that when I came back to New York City in between engagements that I really wasn't having a lot of real quiet time. There's always something, there's always something going on and people to see, and I just felt that it was really time in my life and in my career to have a little bit of serenity.
Gee,
so,
what a concept.
What a great idea, don't you think?
Unbelievable, unheard of, practically.
What a great idea.
So we go down there for a week between performances when we can. I was there for about 5 days last week, and it's just a nice place to relax and regroup.
Is it on the Atlantic?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm about 10-minute walk to the beach
Oh,
from where I live.
gee whiz.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I bet in the dead of these terrible February winters, you like to go down there.
Well, we only moved there in April.
Oh,
so,
I see.
And unfortunately, most of the time that I have had off this year has been in August. So not maybe the best time to experience it. But,
well, that's nice. What a great idea. I got to think about that myself.
I do think, Steve, that Deborah would agree with me. I have a house out in Pennsylvania that I like to go to, and the pace of New York City is interesting because I think it's one of the things that makes musicians here slightly, or more than slightly, urgent. And
Urgent.
No, I mean, there's a certain passion that comes with living here because you're exposed to what New York City is. The people who have only ever lived in a rural environment, for example, they have a different kind of passion. But the passion that comes out of living in New York City is quite something, and it comes out in performances. But at a certain point, you have to go back to those quiet environments to recharge so you can find some more passion this way.
Or as a friend says, to unwind the spring.
That's
There
what
you
it
go.
is.
Never
exactly.
unwinds here. Well, let's play something from this recording you've made of Les Troyens. When did you do this?
I recorded this almost a year ago, right about now. Yeah, in the fall.
With a friend of ours, Francois Paulet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with Françoise. Although Françoise and I never saw one another because of the recording schedule taking place over a rather long period of time. But we have met, and
Did she give you one of those pins that says Françoise Paulet?
no,
She gave
I
me
missed
one
on
when
the-
she was here,
oh,
yeah.
Well, I'll have to get her next time.
She's quite a lady. What are we going to hear? You sang Cassandra, huh?
Right.
Yeah. What? This is either Lincoln or Berlioz. Who is that? Doesn't he look like Lincoln?
Well,
Sort of.
no, I don't
Looks
know.
like Berlioz.
He looks
It's
like
the
Berlioz
bad-
to us. I
It's a
don't know.
bad haircut. All right. What are we going to hear here? What is
We're
it?
hearing Cassandra's first scene, Les Grecs ont disparu.
And who's the who conducts and who's the orchestra?
Maestro Dutoit and the Symphony Montreal.
You've done a little work with him, haven't you? Or about to?
We're going to do something in the spring, Jean d'Arc au Boucher, and we have also done some Strauss concerts together.
Yeah, terrific. Oh, Strauss. We'll talk about that in a minute. From Les Troyens, here's Cassandra's first aria. From Berlioz' Les Troyens, here is Charles Dutoit and the Montreal Symphony Orchestra. And she sings the whole role, not just that aria.
That's
in
right,
this
there's more to
complete,
it.
In this complete, very complete opera on, looks like Decca.
Right.
From the colors, Decca London. Just about everybody, I think. Do you think?
And then some.
So many.
There are quite a few that I haven't yet
Is that right?
encountered on that side of the footlights, but a lot of them I've encountered in opera houses, so
Aha.
had a good time with them all.
I'm noticing and thinking about your accent and wondering where you're from, and it's something Southern.
Well, I was born in Washington, D.C., right near the White House, and right downtown, not in a suburb, but right downtown. And when I was 5, we moved to North Carolina.
That's what I
and
hear.
I went through high school in North
That's
Carolina.
what I hear in North Carolina.
I learned to talk down there like this.
Well, that's what
I was-
it is.
And I'm just sort of talking a little bit better today.
You won't believe me, but I was going to guess one of the Carolinas, but Washington I never would have guessed. Of course, Washington's considered sort of Southern.
It's a southern
area.
town, it for sure
Yeah.
is.
Is it? Does it feel
yes,
like that when you go?
Decidedly.
Really? When did you come to New York?
I moved to New York 17 years ago from San Francisco. Also, like Deborah, I started at my first professional opera job was at San Francisco Opera, and was there for 3 years, and then came to the Metropolitan, and I worked at the Metropolitan for 10 years as an assistant conductor, and now I'm just out doing a lot of concerts and playing chamber music and teaching.
Yeah.
Having a good time.
Did you want to be an accompanist for a long, long time? I mean, is that something you aimed for, or did you aim for conducting and things like that?
No, not at all. When I was in school, I tried to prepare myself to either play a solo career, or teach, or work as an accompanist. And it became quickly evident to me that I was not set for the first two of those. And I've always enjoyed making music. I made music with my sisters in a trio from the time I was 7. And I performed in public a lot from the time I was 5. And people ask me about conducting all the time, but the fact is that I enjoy the physical sensation of playing the piano. I regard the piano as a machine, and I'm like a battery, and I make it go. And it's fun
Very
to sit down
well.
and
You
make it go.
certainly do. Well, there aren't enough good accompanists around, so I'm glad you're accompanying.
Well, we're trying to find some more. I'm starting next year. I have to put in a little small plug. In
Please
fact,
do.
I'm
It's the least we can
starting,
do for you.
I'm starting next year, next September, to teach. I'll be teaching for the next 2 years at the Manhattan School of Music, teaching accompanying there. Yes,
Yeah.
working with young singers and with pianists both.
Yeah, it's so
So
important
I'm looking forward to that.
when you're singing, don't you think, Debbie, to have someone
absolutely.
behind you who understands what you're doing and supports you instead of...
Yeah, so and breathes with you and
Oh, yeah.
understands giving the singer time to breathe but keep the piece flowing the way it should.
Right.
It's very important, and I've had some not such great experiences, but this one Sunday is going to be an entirely different thing.
Yeah, I think that's what teaches us about accompanists, I think, when you have bad ones.
Exactly.
You were born in Illinois?
I was born in just outside Chicago, right.
Yeah, and grew up there?
I grew up there until I was 14, and then my father was transferred to Southern California, so I went to high school and college in Southern California.
Oh.
Then lived in San Francisco, as I said, for my apprenticeship, and then moved to New York and lived there for 6 years.
What did your father do?
My father's in the printing industry.
Is he?
Yeah.
And where in Southern California did you live?
I lived in Placentia, California, which is right next to Anaheim.
Oh, sure.
Disneyland.
Sure. I love that place.
Yeah.
I do.
Disneyland or Southern California?
Well, Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I went to college at California State University, Fullerton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And was there for 3.5 years and was swept away to the Maryland Opera program in the middle of my 4th year.
You miss California? Yes.
I miss my family and I miss my friends, but I have been there and done that, as we say, and don't really feel any desire to live there necessarily again.
Isn't that where you met your husband, Southern California?
That is where I met my husband, yeah.
Is he from there?
He is, yeah. All his life from Southern California.
Yeah. It's nice being able to go to the beach, although people who don't live there would quiz me. I lived in Southern California for a while, working in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And people back east would say to me, in the middle of winter, they must say, it must be great in the middle of winter to get off work and be able to go to the beach. And I said, folks, the sun is set at 4 o'clock. It's black. It's pitch black out. I can't go to the beach.
It's still winter.
People think it's like, I don't know, the southern hemisphere.
Well, they haven't the idea that when you're from California that's all you do.
Just go to the beach.
You must have a perperpetual tan and
the natives don't
know
go
when
to the
the
beach
surf's
that much.
up or something. Sorry?
The natives don't go to the beach that much.
No, they really don't. They really don't.
You
And
always...
I remember when I first moved there, I would go back to Chicago and my friends would say, how come you're not tan? You know, like that's all we would do is lay in the sun.
Well, you have to remember, a lot of natives also don't go to the Empire State Building here.
Well,
it's true.
You go up to
it's the same deal.
Observation deck. They're all tourists.
It's true.
So.
That's how you could tell the tourists in Southern California. They were on the beach in February because it's too cold. You're going to do some Griffes songs.
Right.
I'm wondering if you do these because you have such a beautiful shimmer to your voice, and it's so beautifully focused. It's such a good Strauss voice, and
Thanks.
And Griffes is sort of in that category. Griffes wrote, and I'm trying to remember the names of these, 3 poems of
he wrote 3 songs of Fiona MacLeod on poems by Fiona MacLeod, who was not at all Fiona MacLeod, but that was a pen name for another poet, for a man actually, who wrote those poems.
Yes, I seem to remember that. Those are beautiful, beautiful songs. Do you do those?
No, in fact, I don't know if we read through any of those when we were preparing the recital or not.
We did, but I actually feel like a man should sing those songs because they're decidedly men's songs in the text.
I've only heard them with orchestra.
Right.
Are they intended to be?
They were originally piano songs.
They were.
All of his music that I've encountered was written as piano music and was later orchestrated. Even the Pleasure Dome of Cooper and Pierrot were 2 songs actually that, although I owned the music, I had never had the chance to look through. And when Deborah came and we were looking for the music for this concert, which is a whole different story, I said, well, take these songs and look through some of these and see if some of these interest you. And so Deborah sat down and played a few of them, and she came back and said, well, I found these 2 songs I really do like very much, and so we're going to do these 2 songs for you now. And the 3rd song that we'll do on the concert on Sunday is called The Rose of the Night, which is one of his most famous songs.
Yes.
But so now we're going to sing the 2 that Deborah discovered by herself sitting at the piano.
Well, it'll be a discovery for me too. Cleopatra to the Asp and Pierrot of Charles Tomlinson Griffes, usually called an American Impressionist. Here is Deborah Voight, soprano, Warren Jones at the piano to sing for you live on the radio on Around New York. Cleopatra to the Asp and Pierrot of Charles Tomlinson Griffes. I don't think I've ever heard anything like that from Griffes. Very different. Deborah Voigt, soprano, Warren Jones at the piano. Tell me about this program that you've put together. You say it has an interesting genealogy.
Well, this program is, this recital is Deborah's debut recital in New York City. I mean, she has appeared in opera several times, at the Metropolitan, but it's her first time in a piano recital. And Deborah's career thus far has been mostly made in opera. She has made a few piano recitals, but not too many. And the challenge with a singer like this, always when they come to me, is to find a program that fits the personality of the singer and the way in which the singer sings. And a lot of people who are known as opera singers think they can't sing recitals because they think they're hamstrung by song literature, because song literature is so specific and generally smaller scale than opera is. Exactly. It relies more on a specific expression of words and things like that. And the fun part about finding a recital with a singer of Deborah's caliber, with her kind of voice and her flair for a big gesture, is to find music that feels big and yet is a song with piano. And there's so much music out there which is basically unexplored, because people don't think of song recitals as being expansive, large events. But there's plenty of music. The songs of Liszt, for example, there are songs of Liszt that are almost cataclysmic in their size, with piano that a good tenor can sing, for example. But a lot of tenors shy away from that. They don't feel that they can. Likewise, there are so many wonderful songs of Strauss.
Certainly one of the first people I would think of in that regard.
Right. There are wonderful Beethoven songs that are best sung by a large voice. Concert arias of Mozart, for example. We are going to sing on this concert 3 songs of Mascagni, which I think probably, I could be wrong about this, in the time I've lived in New York, I don't recall ever seeing Mascagni on a recital program. I've seen arias of Mascagni.
I've never seen a song of Mascagni. I've never seen a song of Mascagni.
Well, these songs that we are going to sing are quite something. They are quite amazingly beautiful songs, and
somewhat operatic in nature.
They are, because it was his language to write in that big, expansive, style. And so you look for that kind of compositional style to suit this kind of performing singer. And it's fun doing that, because it's a whole different repertory than the normal Schubert and Schumann repertory that you might see with some other types of singers.
Is that what you do when people come? People don't come to you just to hire you as an accompanist. Do you actually get involved in the program and selection? And
with most people I do.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people, again, so many people who are singing in opera, they don't have the time. They simply don't have the time to explore a lot of song literature. When I've picked programs with Jimmy Morris, for example, the man who is probably now most famous for singing Wotan, who's going to sing tomorrow night Don Giovanni at the Metropolitan.
He's a great Wotan, too.
Yeah, exactly. But you see, most of his time is spent learning opera stuff, and to find music suitable for him in a recital is not easy. Also, he's incredibly picky about what he likes to sing.
What would you, off the top of your head, think that would be good for him?
There are, again, all kinds of Strauss songs to sing. He loves to sing things like Ibert, believe it or not. And
Jacques Ibert, you mean the composer?
Yes, and Ravel. He likes that kind of...
The Don Quixote songs?
Yes, he likes the big Schubert songs, he likes, for example. And, it's fun working out a program with him, because between his abilities, his specific abilities, and his tastes and compositional things, and balancing a program with periods and styles and languages and blah, 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 it becomes quite a puzzle to put together. And it's really fun.
You've chosen some Strauss for Deborah Voigt, which would...
Well, Deborah chose them.
Well, I think your voice is so suited to Strauss.
Well, thanks. I wanted to sing composers that I felt were going to be important in my career, and certainly Strauss is going to be one of them, so that was an obvious choice for us.
Do you sing the 4 last songs?
Yes, I do.
Yes. I can hardly wait to hear you sing the 4 last songs sometime.
Thanks.
Drop me a postcard and let me know where that's going to happen.
Well, I'll do that.
Have you done them yet?
Oh, yeah, I have a few times, actually.
Yeah.
The next time I'll be doing them will be in London in the spring.
Oh, with whom?
I'm not really sure at the moment. It was supposed to have been one maestro, and I won't mention his name because I think he backed out at the last minute, and I haven't heard who the replacement is yet. So
do
we'll
you do
see.
the Wesendonck of Wagner?
Yes, I do, and I'll be doing them on my recital as well.
We're going to do them with piano on Sunday.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah. Well, Wagner, again, is another composer that I wanted to be sure to feature in the concert.
Oh,
and
folks.
So that was an obvious choice.
Folks, go hear this.
Yeah.
I must say again, if you have not heard Wesendonck with the piano, it's an
I haven't.
entirely different experience.
Is it?
Because the piano clarifies things about the songs that are big in the orchestra, but suddenly become crystal clear in the piano texture. So they're quite interesting.
Ooh, I can hardly wait. What are these Strauss songs you're going to do?
Oh, let me see. I'm starting with Mutter Tenderlei, then doing Befreit.
Today, what are you going to do?
Oh, today? What am I doing today? What am I doing today, Warren? I've forgotten already.
We will start.
Ich liebe dich and Zuegnung.
Dedication, right? Is that
Right.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, your friend James Kings sang Dedication yesterday. I can never get enough of Dedication.
Well, let's
it's such a
dedicate
wonderful.
it to him
Let's
today, shall we?
dedicate it to James Kings. Ich liebe dich and Dedication of Richard Strauss. Here's Warren Jones at the piano, Deborah Voight soprano on Around New York. dedication of Richard Strauss. Before that, Ich liebe dich of Strauss, sung for you by Deborah Voight, soprano, Warren Jones at the piano. There's a spin at the top of your voice that reminds me just a little bit of Schwarzkopf.
Oh,
Anybody
yeah?
ever said that?
I haven't actually heard that one. No, I'm told
Just
I
a
mean
little bit.
Farrell an awful lot.
I hear that. I mean, I hear people say that about you.
Yeah.
I can hear that too.
But thank you.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's a bigger voice, I think, than Schwarzkopf. I never heard her live. Did you? Warren? You're not.
I heard Schwarzkopf sing in probably, well, one of several farewell recitals which she gave one evening in Berkeley, California, with Jeffrey Parsons playing the piano. And I only remember when I walked up to her and said that I'd waited a long time to hear her, and I was awfully glad. And she looked at me square in the eye, and she said, "I hope you won't forget me." And I haven't.
I'll bet. I'll bet. Well, it's Sunday at 3 o'clock at Alice Tully Hall. Both Warren Jones and Deborah Voight will be in recital, and you're going to do some Strauss and some Griffes and some Wolf, and you're going to do the Wesendonck of
Brahms.
Wagner and Brahms. 3 o'clock, Alice Tully Hall on Sunday. And people can, I don't have a phone number right here, but they can call Alice Tully Hall box office for information and tickets. And it'll be your New York recital debut after all the operas that you've sung here in New York, too. Well, have fun Sunday, and thank you so much for coming in and singing and chatting with me here on Around New York.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Thanks
Deborah
a lot.
Voight and Warren Jones.